Oh, talking to a camera's hard. Hey guys! So today, Haunted Days is going live over on Webtoon, so be sure to check that out. Webtoon is a platform where creatives can post comics. Normally it's on a weekly basis. I'm not quite sure yet if Haunted Days will be weekly, bi-weekly, or maybe a couple episodes a month, but you can find it under the Canvas section of Webtoons. These webtoons on the screen now you can find under originals, and I strongly recommend them. They are my favorite webtoons to read. So to help celebrate Haunted Days going on Webtoons, I commissioned a piece by Butch Hartman, and I wanted to kind of talk about whether or not it was worth it. So first I want to get into other pieces that I've commissioned. The first pieces I've ever commissioned, which were also the most expensive pieces, were The Tower and The Fall, which are both pieces based off of The Vampire's Fall. They were pieces that I had commissioned back in 2016, and they were both very expensive and also done way before the book and series were fully plotted, so they don't fully match really with the series anymore. But I still love them and will continue to use them probably for marketing or something. Right now I have The Fall as coasters on my desk, so that's kind of what I've been using that art piece for right now. I couldn't find the original invoice or emails for The Tower, but I'm pretty sure it was between $300 to $500 US. And The Fall, I could find the emails, and it was about $375 US. This is that in Canadian. And so with those prices in mind, let's go forward with the commission that I got done from Butch. So who is Butch Hartman first? Let's start with that. Butch Hartman is the creator of Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, and a few other cartoons that I'm not familiar with. Growing up, I watched Fairly Odd Parents, and I had seen the odd episode of Danny Phantom. If you go over to his YouTube channel, he does some redraws of a lot of his characters, and he talks about all of the shows that he's done. He mainly talks about Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom. I think those were his two like big shows that he did. I'm not quite sure, but those are the shows that I know him from. So I was watching some of his YouTube videos, and he was promoting his commissioning service. Would it be a service? I don't know. But he was promoting that he does commissions, and I was interested, so I went over to his website and I put in an email and all that, and someone from his team got back to me, and so we went back and forth for a while. I think I emailed him back in like December of either 2019 or 2020. I think it might have been this year that I got the commission done, so it would have been December 2020. And then we kind of went back and forth a little bit over the next few months, and then finally I sent them the money in, I think it was June or July, and then a few weeks later they got back to me with the commission. So for one character, digitally drawn in color, it was $200, and I wanted Claire and Danny in the same image because I wanted my character, obviously, and then I wanted Danny Phantom because he fights ghosts, so it would make sense to have them together. So that ended up being $400 US, which is this much Canadian. And so I don't really know what I was expecting. I was expecting something amazing, obviously, because it's Butch Hartman. So I was expecting like this amazing drawing. I even gave some ideas when I emailed them saying that I had sent the payment. I was thinking, oh, there could be one of like Claire and Danny like back to back kind of thing in like cool poses, like James Bond kind of poses, or there could be like one of Danny as a ghost like flying circles around Claire or something like that. And what he gave me was alright, like I'm happy with it, but at the same time I wasn't. I don't know, I have mixed feelings on this piece of work. Anyway, so I'm just gonna show you guys because I have a few areas that I want to talk about and kind of nitpick, I don't know. But here's the piece. So as you can see, it's a image of Claire running one direction, Danny kind of in his ghost form flying in the other direction. And actually looking at it now, I'm a lot more pleased with it than I was when I first got it. So anyways, let's first talk about some things that I am not too much a fan of. So in hindsight, these are things that I probably should have thought about before. The big one is her hair. I'm not a fan of how it looks really clumpy. I know she has curly hair, but like just the way it's drawn, I'm not a big fan of it. I ended up having to Google curly haired characters on Danny Phantom. I don't know why I keep calling it Phantom. I can't talk today apparently. I looked on Danny Phantom and I just Googled like the characters and stuff, and there was a couple that had kind of wavy hair but none with curly hair. So then I went and Googled for Fairly Odd Parents, and again it was the same thing where none of them really had curly hair like Claire does. So I guess curly hair might just not be his thing. But again, it's not as bad as I remember it, because I remember it looking very, very chunky and really huge and just not quite right. Another thing was that the style kind of confused me. The style of this drawing confused me because it didn't quite look like the show of Danny Phantom, so I wasn't sure like what kind of style he was going for. If you watch his YouTube channel, you can see that he still draws things in the same style that he did for the show.
And he has very big eyebrows, so we're going to do some big eyebrows like that. And then do his eyes underneath, half circles. And now we're going to do his mouth. You have a choice to make a smile or a scowl. I'll give him like a very serious look because he's looking for ghosts. And then his hair, you put his ear over here, do the Fairly Odd Parents backwards 6 in his ear. Come up there, and out goes his hair. 1, 2, 3 points. Back, and then drop a point over his eyes like that. And there you have his face. And then there is his neck. I put a little shading under his head right there like that. And he's going to have his collar.
And so I was a bit confused on why it doesn't really look like that. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe he's trying to match the style of the image that I sent him of Claire, which is this image. And I was like, oh, well, maybe he's trying to match Sandra's style, but then it doesn't match either. So maybe he was trying to do something in between. I don't quite know. Just the style kind of confused me. So at first I thought, oh, maybe he has a ghost artist, like kind of like a ghost writer, but it's a ghost artist. But then I was like, if I'm paying $400 for a ghost artist, I would be really upset. So I'm thinking he was just trying to do something more cartoony because that's the style that I gave him as the reference for Claire. So that's what I'm guessing, that he was just going with slightly different kind of style. But that was something that kind of threw me off when I first saw the drawing too. Hi, Editing Liz here. I just wanted to make a little style note. Looking at these two next to each other, they don't look like they're that different. But I think it's the fact that Danny's face was thinner and longer, and that the lines weren't as like backlit glowy like I'm used to from Danny Phantom. And I don't know, I guess Claire also just doesn't quite fit into that style, and I'm used to seeing her in the other style and everything, so that's probably what threw me off. I do like the style and what he went with. But yeah, and otherwise I like the drawing. Again, seeing it again now compared to when I first saw it, I definitely like it more. When I first saw it, I was really upset. I wasn't a big fan of it, and yeah, I think I just needed to step back a moment and just take a breather and look at it with fresh eyes again. But okay, we're back to the question of, was it worth it? So for $400, I would say no. Straight up, just no. I like dealing with artists who are like a lot cheaper than that. Not cheaper, more affordable. And Butch is definitely not affordable for an indie author. But the thing I would also look at it for is that it's the nostalgia for me. Like, if you're paying Butch Hartman for a drawing, you're paying it because he's Butch Hartman, and you're paying for that name in a sense. It's the same as when people buy like Gucci products or Chanel or whatever. I know nothing about fashion, but you're buying the brand more than the actual product. And I feel like it's the same with when you get a commission by Butch Hartman. So when you're getting a commission, you're paying more for it just being by him. And if you're wanting a commission by Butch Hartman, then you're gonna have to pay extra for it to be done by him, because he's taking time out of his busy schedule. He's a busy guy, and he's drawing this drawing for you. So when you're talking about is it worth it, it's kind of hard to say directly yes or no, because you have to look at it from your own perspective. For me, yes and no. Yes, it was worth it for me to do it this one time, but I would probably never commission him again. But I have this one drawing from Butch Hartman, and I can say I have a drawing by the Butch Hartman. And because I grew up watching Fairly Odd Parents, that is a nostalgia thing for me, and so it is worth it to me. But I don't know, it's a confusing, it's a complicated thing. So overall, I would say for a one-time purchase, yes, it was worth it for me. Would I do it again? Probably not. But I have a drawing by Butch Hartman now, and honestly, I love it. A lot more than I did at first. I like it now. And I'm probably going to print it out on some cardstock or something and put it somewhere on my wall in my office, because I really like it. And yeah, so that's pretty much my little ramble about that. Don't forget to head over to Webtoons and check out the first 3 uploads of Haunted Days, where we finally get to see Claire and all of the mischief she gets into with her and her ghosts. Danny Phantom, unfortunately, is not actually in the series, but that's okay, because we have Esmeralda the ghost and all of our other spooky friends. So be sure to go check that out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Don't forget to follow me over on Facebook, Instagram, and I'm sometimes on Twitter, so you can check me out there if you want. I also have Wattpad, which is where I upload some of my fanfics. I currently have Jurassic, which I'm hoping to upload more chapters of very soon. And then I also have a kind of the daughter of Harley Quinn and the Joker fanfiction, which is finished, unedited. A Five Nights at Freddy's fanfiction, which I'm hoping to get back to as well very soon.